Undercover CEO buys a truck at his own dealership, stops cold when he hears a customer behind him. This isn't just a story about mistaken identity. It's about how quickly assumptions can unravel and how true leadership often reveals itself in moments of quiet reflection. Daniel Hayes had always prided himself on running a tight ship at Titan Motors, the automotive empire he'd built from the ground up. But lately, whispers of discontent had started to seep into boardroom conversations. Rumors of dissatisfied customers, overworked employees, and declining sales figures that couldn't be ignored. Despite assurances from his regional managers, Daniel felt uneasy. Numbers told part of the story, but they didn't capture the human element, the pulse of what was really happening on the front lines. So, instead of relying solely on reports, he decided to take matters into his own hands. On a crisp autumn morning, Daniel traded his tailored suit for a pair of worn jeans and a flannel shirt, donned a baseball cap pulled low over his face, and walked onto the lot of one of his busiest dealerships. He wasn't there to micromanage or spy. He wanted to see the operation through the eyes of an ordinary customer. What he discovered would shake him to his core and force him to confront some uncomfortable truths about the company he'd poured his life into. The sun hung low in the sky as Daniel approached the entrance, blending seamlessly with the other shoppers milling around the gleaming rows of trucks and SUVs. Inside, he was greeted by Sarah Jenkins, one of the dealership's top-performing salespeople. Her practiced smile faltered only slightly when she saw him. A man she assumed was just another potential buyer looking to upgrade his ride. "Looking for anything specific today?" Sarah asked brightly, her tone polished but tinged with something Daniel couldn't quite place. "Stress? Fatigue? Or maybe frustration? Just browsing," he replied, keeping his voice casual. "Maybe a truck. Something reliable." Sarah nodded enthusiastically and launched in her pitch, guiding him through the inventory with the ease of someone who knew every detail by heart. As they moved from one vehicle to the next, Daniel marveled at her efficiency, but also noticed the subtle ways she steered him toward higher-priced models. It wasn't aggressive, exactly, but it was calculated, almost mechanical. Eventually, they settled on a mid-range pickup truck, a sturdy model Daniel recognized immediately as one of their best sellers. The price tag was fair, the features solid. Satisfied with his choice, Daniel followed Sarah to the finance office to finalize the paperwork. But before they could reach their destination, a commotion near the service desk caught his attention. A middle-aged man stood fuming, his face red with anger as he argued loudly with another employee. "I bought this truck 6 months ago, and it's already falling apart," he shouted, slamming a fist against the counter. "You guys sold me a lemon." The accusation reverberated through the showroom, silencing everyone within earshot. Employees exchanged uneasy glances, while nearby customers paused mid-conversation, unsure whether to stay or leave. Daniel instinctively took a step forward, then stopped himself. This wasn't his moment to intervene, not yet. Instead, he watched as Sarah stepped in to defuse the situation. Gone was the confident salesperson from earlier. Now, she seemed hesitant, even defensive. "Sir, I'm sorry to hear about your experience," she said carefully. "Let's see what we can do to make this right." "That's not good enough," the man shot back. "My family depends on this vehicle every single day. Do you have any idea how stressful this has been?" Daniel felt a knot tighten in his stomach. He'd read complaints like this in quarterly reports, dismissed them during executive meetings as outliers or isolated incidents. But seeing it play out in real time, witnessing the raw emotion and palpable frustration, was gut-wrenching. This wasn't just a disgruntled customer. It was a symptom of deeper issues festering beneath the surface. As the argument dragged on, Daniel noticed the ripple effect. Other customers began whispering among themselves, some shaking their heads in disapproval. A few turned and left altogether. The tension was contagious, infecting the entire atmosphere of the dealership. Finally, unable to remain a passive observer any longer, Daniel stepped forward. Keeping his voice calm but authoritative, he addressed the irate man directly. "Excuse me, sir. May I speak with you for a moment?" The man looked at him skeptically. Who are you? Someone who wants to help? Daniel replied simply. Turning to Sarah and the manager, he added, Give us a minute, please. They retreated reluctantly, leaving Daniel alone with the frustrated customer. Over the next 10 minutes, he listened intently as the man recounted his ordeal. The repeated trips to the repair shop, the mounting expenses, the sense of betrayal. By the end of the conversation, Daniel understood two things. First, the man's anger was justified. Second, the problem went far beyond this single incident. When they rejoined the others, Daniel instructed Sarah to arrange immediate repairs at no cost to the customer. And he added firmly, We'll provide a rental car for the duration. No excuses. The man blinked in surprise, but nodded gratefully. Thank you, he muttered before leaving the dealership. Once he was gone, Daniel turned to the staff gathered around him. They stared back uncertainly, unsure who this stranger was or why he'd taken charge. Taking a deep breath, Daniel removed his baseball cap and met their gazes head-on. My name is Daniel Hayes, he announced. I'm the CEO of Titan Motors. What I witnessed today is unacceptable. We pride ourselves on quality and customer service, yet clearly, we're failing in both areas. Starting tomorrow, we're implementing new protocols to ensure this never happens again. And trust me, I'll be watching. Stunned silence filled the room. Some employees shifted uncomfortably, while others exchanged nervous glances. But beneath the shock, Daniel saw something else. Relief. Relief that someone finally acknowledged the cracks in the system. Relief that change might actually be possible. After addressing the team, Daniel pulled Sarah aside privately. Tell me what's really going on here, he urged gently. At first, she hesitated. Then, slowly, she began to open up. It's complicated, she admitted. We're under constant pressure to meet quotas, but sometimes that means pushing products that aren't the best fit for customers. And when things go wrong, we don't always have the resources to fix them quickly. It's frustrating for everyone. Daniel nodded thoughtfully. Thank you for being honest. That's exactly what I needed to hear. By the time Daniel left the dealership that evening, the weight of responsibility pressed heavily on his shoulders. But alongside it came clarity. Real leadership wasn't about hiding behind closed doors or delegating tasks blindly. It was about showing up, listening, and taking action, even when it meant confronting uncomfortable truths. In the weeks that followed, Daniel rolled out sweeping changes across all Titan Motors locations. New training programs emphasized empathy and transparency, while revised policies prioritized customer satisfaction over short-term profits. Slowly but surely, the tide began to turn. As for the truck Daniel purchased that day, it sat proudly in his driveway, a reminder of the lesson he'd learned. Sometimes, the most powerful insights come from stepping outside your comfort zone and hearing the unfiltered voices of those you serve. Because in the end, leadership isn't about titles or authority. It's about connection. And connection starts with listening, even when the truth hurts.